Hey, friends.
Howdy doody.
What's up?
I know it's only been like 2 weeks since we were all together, but I feel like I haven't talked to you guys in a while.
Been a hot old minute.
Well, Brooke was out last week hiking.
Getting my hike on. Beautiful pictures. We saw a moose. Moose. Multiple. We saw multiple moose.
You saw meese?
Yeah, they were sick. They were just eating water, just staring at us. We were just like, that's sick. You're huge. I think they were eating seaweed out of the water.
Absolutely do not get close to moose. Like, they will
fuck
your world up.
Yeah, I am planning on going to Estes Park in September. Great idea with a new car. They have it's mating season for like elk, so they just get absolutely riled up and just fight in the middle of the city in the streets.
Is there a plural word for moose?
No, it's moose.
Yeah, isn't it just the plural of moose is moose? It's like
the other word.
Yeah, no.
Goose.
It should be meese.
No, geese. Geese. It's definitely goose.
Gooses. It's people. I don't know how we got here. Boys, a week from now, the NFL will be back.
I'm pumped.
We'll have a football game to talk about. That is horrifying. Brick, I know you're like the eternal optimist, but I don't see how they make it to like week 4.
I am absolutely positive that they're going to get all the way through this. A bad choice of words with the positive, but I think they'll make it all the way through without COVID being a major issue.
But based on what?
Based off of my great life experience. That's it. I got a feeling. That feeling as a gut feeling.
Make on like an under, like I would go under six games, 6 weeks, I should say.
Can't do it. I just snuck into Mark's fantasy league to be a troll.
Dude, you weaseled your way into my fantasy league. If there were two of you, it'd be Wheeses. Wait, no, I don't know what the plural of weasel is.
I think it's
just add an S.
Weaselies.
Well, I tried to bait you into giving me some sleeper picks that I was going to steal from you, but you don't draft your team, so it was kind of a moot point.
You're the absolute worst. You have the number one spot for projection after the draft, and
by far
you proceed to go ahead and fucking literally text everyone. I'm in like a separate group with all my other friends that are mostly in that fantasy league, and everyone's just like, "What the fuck is Brick saying? We want to trade? He's a part of Krisky's team now." And this was literally like 30 seconds after the draft ended. He's trying to make trades. I'm like, dude, stop.
I drafted with Krisky. Krisky wanted to go halvesies on it. Actually, Krisky was like, he's like, yo, I just got into Zaz League, and I was like, yo, let me get in on that. And he was like, all right. So now I'm just in, baby.
Yeah, we're talking trash in the chat during the draft, and I'm just like, this does not sound like Krisky talking.
Yeah, first thing I said was Chumpcast stinks. You're like
Brick.
Brick is the guy who will like ruin pretty much anything that he gets his hands into. So
yeah, no, but
intentionally as well, not accidentally.
Yeah, I'll fudge some things up just for the fun of it. But yeah, so yeah, welcome to your new fantasy nightmare. 3-time champion, huh?
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
I don't even think anyone has 2. Maybe. No, I don't think anyone has 2. I got 3 rings.
Well, guess what?
League if Mark is in here winning it.
No kidding. And we're going to come in here and just absolutely stomp on the whole competition.
Brick, what's the longest running league that you have?
Right now, I think it's probably 8 years probably.
Okay.
That gets heated. The staple of fantasy football is getting into arguments over the dumbest rules and regulations, and then just fucking with your friends the whole time. That's all it is.
Oh, yeah.
Someone gets paid. Whoever climbs out of the pit of despair of arguments is the winner, really. Krisky almost quit our league.
What happens if they don't finish the season? Or are you guys just like, whatever, fuck it?
Yeah, we did. After 8 games, we just do a percentage of the payout to whoever the top 2 teams were.
I'm distracted. I'm watching Cubs Cardinals on my other screen.
No, I think we're going to do something like that for our league.
Yeah.
Just getting to Jack Flaherty right now.
Yeah, you'd think you should have discussed that prior to the draft, but
well,
Yeah, we added an IR slot for when somebody gets sick inevitably, but I don't think that's going to help really. What you need to do is like, if somebody goes down right before a game, you got to like change it to like a best ball type game or something where it's just everybody, like you pick everybody out of your starting lineup or your bench, like who has the best scores, and you see who wins that way.
That's tough too because of different positions. Then someone could be hoarding QBs or whatever who score more points. We have just 5 IR spots for COVID only. If your guy gets COVID, you can put him there, pick up somebody.
But what if
That's
it's
the way we did it?
And
you talk to the commissioner. You talk to the commissioner. You let the commissioner know. If it's COVID only for the day of. As long as we all agreed upon it, it was fine.
Can you believe these parents out here like lobbying to the Big Ten commissioner? Like, hey, let our kids play football, as if he has any say over it, and also as if it matters at all. Like, at least NFL players are getting paid millions of dollars to go out there and risk their lives and shit. But forcing college kids to go out there is fucking insane.
Dude, you got to get that 1% that's going to make the NFL have their chance. Duh. Is the Big Ten back?
No, they're delaying until at least 2021. But I know, like, personally, I feel like we're going to movies again now, and I'm not going to make it a regular thing. I don't think. There were a couple of movies I wanted to see, but we are not good at being patient for shit like this. Like, we just want to go back to normal right fucking now.
ASAP.
I had to go to the DMV today, which I'm not going to make every fucking bad joke that's ever been made about the DMV. I was there for 4 hours.
Damn, dude.
Well, DMV is the worst.
We're out to the street.
Did you go like first thing in the morning?
No, I went in the middle of the day because what I've been hearing is first thing in the morning, people are showing up at like 7 a.m. to get in line.
Oh, I have too many plates. Fuck me. That's going to be a nightmare.
I don't know, but like there's people there and they're not wearing the masks right. It's so fucking obnoxious. I just hate everyone so much.
Yeah, the DMV itself is just, I can tell you have like a DMV aura about you right now. That's just like weighing you down. Even though you got it done with, you're just like, it takes a day to decompress after that.
100%. It's the energy vampires from What We Do in the Shadows. That's exactly what it is, except everyone there is just sucking the life out of you.
Everyone's an energy vampire. That's how they get their jobs. You always wonder who are the people that are going to go work at the DMV. It's the people that are actual energy vampires. That checks out.
Yeah, and it's like they shut down a few of the DMVs around here, which is insane considering the backlog of people that they have. Like the one at Des Plaines is closed, and I sure as fuck wasn't going to go downtown Chicago right now.
Nightmare.
But,
yeah. John Boy over here, my roommate, his license has expired in August, and they're just like, yeah, it's fine till November. Just don't even come in. Fuck it.
Yeah, that's the other thing is like because they were shut down for so long. Like, well, we can't start. I almost would rather be arrested than spend another fucking 4 hours at the DMV. Like, just take me into prison, take me to jail for having an expired license. I would not fucking sit through that again. It's nightmare. But,
Dude, they made a mask. I know you hate the people that wear the mask below their nose. That's the fucking worst.
Did you see the mask that they made that looks like yes
this meme right here? I designed a mask for people who want to stay safe and still look like they're a fucking idiot. Oh my god, Karen,
going to like Missouri or something, and I wanted to fit in. That's probably what I would wear. Something that makes it look like I don't really care about these masks, but the government's making me do it.
Goddamn government.
The government.
So stupid.
All right.
News to us. Boop.
Gentlemen, I sent you some trailers. I was scrambling to get this in today because I didn't know that we were going to be recording tonight, and I had to give my baby a bath. But
hold on, sorry.
You realize that this is mainly an audio medium, correct? And you're just putting on screen right now?
We're still on YouTube. We still publish to YouTube. People see it.
We hit the tube, dude.
We're on the tubular that
influencers. Anyways, we got a trailer this week for The Haunting of Bly Manor, which is a follow-up to The Haunting of Hill House. This kind of, to me, Brick, you were an American Horror Story fan, if I remember correctly.
For the first 2 seasons, then I kind of like I like American Horror Story for usually probably the first 4 or 5 episodes, and then I just like somehow they go way off the rails, and then I'm just like, I'm over it. Never go back to it.
But it kind of feels like they're doing the same sort of thing here, where they're going to keep the same characters and actors, but put them in a different scenario. I was a pretty big fan of the cast from season 1, so I'm all about this. Based on
like season 1.
The first season was on a book. Shit, I should remember the name of this because I just looked at it, but I completely forgot. So it's not really a sequel as much as it is another vignette.
It's got that one girl in it, though. The same girl.
$1,000,000% more specific, please.
I don't know. She was the younger one of the family.
Yep, the one girl. She's there for sure. Anyways,
Dude, I don't know her name. She's like an unknown actress. She was actually in the show with Crystalia, where
where he's the creepy guy.
Yeah, she was in You. Her name is Victoria Pedetri. There you go.
I hated that fucking show so much. I watched the entire first season.
I know you did.
It made me so angry.
I couldn't even watch it. I was like, ugh, not my kind of show.
Now your boy D'Elia is coming out, or people are coming out saying that he was exposing himself, Louis C.K. style, to them.
That means that he was jerking off in front of them. For people who don't know what that means,
I mean, not necessarily. Maybe it was just like, "Hey, look at this." I mean, either way, it's. I don't know.
When you say Louis C.K. style,
you're pretty much a shitbag either way. But you would think he's rich and famous. You would think that he wouldn't have to sexually accost people to get what he wanted.
You'd think maybe he's getting what he wanted so much that he was like, fucking, I need to do this in front of everybody that doesn't know me. Bah!
I wonder if he was like this close to like the last like 2 days he was about to come out and like make his first statement. And he like, if you think about it, he's probably working with the people that actually were posting stuff and trying to like see if they could resolve something or try to make it sound better than it is. He was probably this close. Maybe he like came to an agreement with their families and these people, and all of a sudden on Twitter there are just a couple more people that come out. He's probably like, fuck
yeah, Crystalia's jerking off in the streets, god damn it.
It's weird because he didn't come out and deny the first allegations, but he is denying these allegations, which is also not a good look because now people are like, why didn't you deny the first allegation? So basically what I'm saying is Crystalia is a diddler.
Yeah,
caught between a rock and a hard place.
I was so surprised he didn't say anything on Twitter for so long.
Yeah,
I mean, he's got to just go into hiding at this point. Just like go be a Buddhist monk somewhere and figure your shit out and think about what a piece of shit you've been.
You don't even have to do that. You can literally supposed to be quarantining anyway for the most part. Do we forget that? Is that even a thing? Do we need to be quarantined technically? Should we kind of be?
I mean, you need to be careful around who you expose. Like I can hang out with my sister because I know my sister's staying at home and taking care of her kids too. Like she's not being stupid and going to parties and shit. I read an article today. It was
your sister's raging face.
Missouri,
be honest.
And they have like 9,000 positive cases. What? How the fuck do you go back to school and deal with that?
I don't know how they're doing any sort of schooling at all. Wear your mask the whole time. Imagine being a first grade teacher telling your first grade kids to wear your fucking masks, you cesspool of germs. Brutal.
I mean, kids they don't even have to be first graders to be a cesspool of germs. Like my kid sneezes openly into my mouth and shit. And
yeah, no, it's all children, like up to like 24. It's like you're fucking gross mostly.
I would just argue that all people are gross.
All people are gross. Mm-hmm.
There's just like fluids and oils and shit that come off you. It's just not worth it. Anyways,
my forehead is just getting more oily.
Was actually pretty good, and it's for a movie called Possessor. So this is a movie. It reminded me a little bit of Altered Carbon, just basically because they're doing the whole body swap thing. But Andrea Riseborough is an assassin who can possess other people to do the killing for her. So basically, they show her like laying down on a table, and they hook the thing up to her brain, and they transfer her to another body, and she controls it. And she does it to kill people. And her latest target is Sean Bean, who just is a professional on-screen dyer.
Dead guy. Yeah, known dead guy.
His head chopped off, just died in every movie ever. This looks pretty interesting, though. So this is, when they make all those Cronenberg jokes in Rick and Morty?
Yeah.
So this is directed by a guy named Brandon Cronenberg. I assume he has some relation to, I need to look this up, but it is very Cronenbergian. It's just like the deep sci-fi. David Cronenberg is the original Cronenberg, I believe, and I think that his son is Brandon. So this got a lot of hype after coming out of Sundance, which was a thing that happened, and I have to remind myself of that. But David Cronenberg, he did Scanners, Videodrome. He does a bunch of really weird shit. Like the Rick and Morty references are you become a sloppy alien monster. And
gross skin human. Yeah.
It's just a very apt description of him, like in the movies that he does. I'm trying to find if it's actually his son, Brandon. Yeah, so his son is Brandon Cronenberg. So he's obviously following in his father's weird ass footsteps.
Ugh. Yeah, I just looked up Cronenberg, and they have like what looks to be the ugliest version of Jeff Goldblum I've ever seen in my life. Is that Jeff Goldblum? Do you see the picture that
no, but I'm guessing it's from The Fly.
I can't tell, but they like if you look up David Cronenberg, you just see gross aliens, gross lobster monsters, gross semen that has like a baby coming out of its stomach. I'll say stomach.
Picture from The Fly. You should probably watch that movie because it's kind of like an all-time sci-fi horror type thing. It's basically, I mean, The Simpsons did a spoof of it where they had a teleporter and like you teleport, but as you step in, a fly flies into the teleporter too, so it mixes your DNA and you come out a weird fly
human.
So yeah, that's very Cronenbergian.
Yikes! Yeah, gross. But so this guy is the one that's directing this Possessed movie, is what we're saying. His son is.
It's his son.
Okay. Concept is great. It's like you can go in there, change to a human, a different person, I guess, and then you can just go and do a murder on their behalf so that you don't have your hands are just clean the whole time. There's no DNA evidence. There's no nothing. I'm interested how they possess people. Is it, I mean, they go into the computer more or less, but do they have to like poison them? Do you have to put a little chip in their system? Like, how do they go about it? Or is it all random? You know what I mean? Suppository. I mean, they eat it or something? So what does suppository mean?
It means they put it up your butt.
Up their ass.
Oh, hilarious.
Did you mention Andrea Riseborough is Mandy from Mandy?
I did not mention that, but the first thing, like, I think that's actually her only major acting credit.
Yeah.
But she dies pretty quickly in that movie, right? Was she
Yes.
Nick's wife?
Yes, but she in this trailer, she reminded me of that last scene in Mandy where she's just smiling back at him in the car. And she's all full of blood and shit.
Dude, that's up there with one of the weirdest ending to any movies of all time. Also,
Weird.
The Lighthouse, where Pattinson shows up at the top of the lighthouse and he just like zooms in. He's just like,
I
know,
I'm drinking petroleum.
I'm making faces, but you know what I mean if you've seen The Lighthouse. It's on Amazon Prime, by the way. You should check it out if you haven't seen it yet.
You should check out the image that I posted in our Discord and share it.
Might do that. Okay. We got a kind of a teaser trailer for something we talked about a couple weeks ago. Welcome to Blumhouse. This was weird to me because Blumhouse had a deal with Hulu where they were doing kind of like every holiday once a month and doing a weird horror movie for that. But these are going to Amazon Prime, and it's 4 separate movies. And the way the trailers cut kind of makes it hard to tell which movie is what. But this is, we're in September now, boys. We're about to start getting some really corny, shitty horror movies.
I'm all here for it. Absolutely. This is the time the weather's crisp. You're starting to feel that change of weather. It was supposed to be 90 on Monday next week, and it's 40 and snowing on Tuesday. It's gonna be
a little
nuts.
spookiness in the air. Ghosts come out at this time of year. You know,
it is exactly. It's just crisp enough.
Days everywhere.
It's just crisp enough for the ghosts to actually kind of come and appear. It's just one of those.
Ghosts aren't
ghost hunters know. Ghost hunters know. Me and Mark, obviously.
We get a bunch of new movies based on true stories because they're scary ghost movies.
Exactly. All based on true stories.
I hope you guys both get haunted. House and like planting ghost, like projections and shit and knocking on the window in the middle of the night.
That's gonna be fun.
Be crying one day, and I'll just tell him, dude, ghosts aren't real.
And then you're gonna get haunted.
And I'm gonna slowly. I wish I would get haunted because then I would at least believe that ghosts are real.
You would get a ghost to the face, and then you'd be like, "Nah, dude," and then he'd still haunt you for the rest of your life because
it's real.
Yeah, you would get ghost
You don't
goo
respect
all
it.
over your face.
ghost goo.
Slimed like in Ghostbusters. Yeah. Okay.
That's the way you want to think about it. Yeah.
Did you guys watch the new Bond trailer? So this is technically only the second trailer, which sounds insane because I feel like we've been seeing trailers for this movie for years. This feels almost like New Mutants type shit. But supposedly, this movie's going to theaters in November. It's already been pushed back like everything else. So
I'm not worried about it, only because of the COVID reasons. It didn't get pushed back because of recuts and reshoots and all that other bullshit. So I saw gadgets that I liked. I saw the Bond chick is kicking ass. What's her name?
Anna de Armas, who
Hell yeah.
she's been in a ton of stuff. She was in
Knives Out,
Blade Runner 2049, Knives Out. She did that weird movie with Keanu Reeves. Yeah, she's great. I fucking love her.
Exactly. So you got the gadgets, you got the Bond woman chick kicking ass, you got the drastic landscape changes that you want they have always fantastic scenery in all Bond movies. You got sick action sequences. I'm fucking here for it. I can't wait for it. Bond, baby. Also, Rami Malek looks like a good villain.
Yeah, even though he's got a weird face, he does look like a good villain. He's a hell of an actor. I absolutely can't dispute that. But I got
every Bond villain has a weird face, though.
Yeah, that's just
literally everyone.
That's how it's always been.
That's why I hate Bond, because he's so handsome.
That way, where it's always something where it's like a guy's bleeding from his eyeballs or has metal teeth or some shit or diamond face. But I got a real Mission Impossible type vibe out of the stunts for this. I don't know if Daniel Craig is like, yeah, sure, fuck it, I'll do it and go Tom Cruise, but he has not wanted to be James Bond for years. And it's almost ironic that I think that he's now the longest tenured James Bond.
You got 5 movies now, right?
So it's not just the movies, it's the fact that they've gone so long in between them, and there've been so many delays and shit, and he's been arguing with directors and movie studios and shit like that. He seems like he'd be a real pain in the ass to work with, to be honest. But he's a hell of an actor.
I love him as Bond. I would be also super sold on Idris Elba being the new Bond.
Absolutely.
There was rumors of that, and then I combined that with watching Luther the other day, and I was like, so here for this. So here for it.
I think they're kind of setting up. I'm sorry, I don't know this actress's name. She's I'll look it up real quick, but she is a 00 agent.
Is she a reoccurring actress?
No, she's new to this, and I mean, they are at least setting her up to be a huge badass, so that's a plus. But she could come in and what is the name of this fucking movie? Tomorrow Never Dies.
No Time to Die. Are you talking about Léa Seydoux? That was a botch. Seydous.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
That's the blonde.
I'm talking about the black woman.
Oh.
I also want to point out this is directed by Cary Fukunaga, who did season 1 of True Detective.
Naomi Harris.
Yep, that's maybe her. But Christoph Waltz is in here going face to face. Yeah, Naomi Harris. Thank you. Jeffrey Wright's in there. Obviously, Ray Fiennes, Rami Malek. I mean, this cast is. It's probably, I don't know, like what are the franchises that when you grow up and trying to become an actor, like what are the franchises you want to be a part of? It's like James Bond, Star Wars. I guess now would be Marvel if you could do it.
Right.
But James Bond's always been up on that pedestal, even if some of the movies haven't really been that good.
Batman.
I especially can't fucking tell you anything that's happened in like the last 6 Bond movies. So
Casino Royale was a banger. Yeah, it has been.
That was the first one that Daniel Craig did, though.
Exactly. It was fantastic. Very intense.
It sucked. And the rest of them I can't tell apart.
Spectre. Skyfall. Skyfall was pretty good, I thought. They're all like interesting action flicks. I've never seen. They were never. None of them were bad. Quantum of Solace was meh, but all of the other ones I thought were easily worth a watch.
I liked Skyfall. Skyfall was good.
Skyfall was good.
I defy either of you to sit down and like tell me what happened in each movie.
Wasn't Bardem in Skyfall and he pulled out like half his face? He was like in that.
It was Jaws.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a
no.
sick
He
reveal.
wasn't Jaws.
He was
no,
done.
he was. Yeah,
Who was Jaws? What was the movie with Jaws in it then?
an older Bond.
Yeah, that movie came out forever ago.
Shit, that one was so good. That's Quantum of Solace. I'm gonna laugh. It couldn't have been.
While you're looking that up, we'll just move on.
Please.
You have till October 30th to finish binging The Mandalorian before season 2 drops. Are you actually going to sit down and watch it?
I've seen it.
I guess you're right. I should finish that. But
do you still have Disney Plus? Do either of you still have Disney Plus?
technically, my sister and I share an account.
You have to share a $7 a month account. Okay, fair.
Why would I pay for Disney?
I mean, what do you bring to this relationship with your sister?
Hulu.
Okay, so you do actually pay for something at least.
Yeah, Hulu.
I've got some family members.
Amazon Prime.
And don't.
Yeah, I do Hulu, HBO, Amazon Prime. She has Netflix, Disney Plus. I think I'm getting on the raw end of this deal, but yeah. And
mine cough, Amanda cough.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
So
that's why you sound so bitter. Maybe that's the DMV talking.
Rick, or no, Mark.
Yeah.
Would Batman ever get COVID-19?
I mean, it did come from a bat, technically. That's
wow. Wow. Spin that round. Spin those 1,000.
Has there ever been a Batman story where Batman gets rabies from bats?
All right, let me spin it again on you. Yeah, Pattinson got COVID, but would The Rock ever get COVID? One of the greatest people of all time. You jabroni.
So you like The Rock more than you like Batman, is what you're saying?
That's a hard one. That's a tough one. If The Rock wasn't in all the Fast and Furious movies.
How many statues of The Rock do you have in your house?
I have one on pre-order right now.
No, oh my God.
Here's a whole Rock collection, dude. Are you kidding me? You just got a whole Rock collection in front of your backyard.
Who would win in a fight, The Rock or Batman?
Does Batman have time to prepare?
No, he does not have time to prepare.
It's still Batman.
Okay. Just skill.
Batman
fight. He's just huge.
Dude, I don't know. The Rock giving Batman the rock bottom and then the people's elbow, most electrifying move in entertainment history, dude. He might be in trouble. That back might be broken. We all know that's his weak spot.
Ooh, that's true. Maybe he'd just bane him and snap his spine.
That's what's up, dude.
Okay.
Never know.
Oh boy. I hate talking about this because it's kind of weird. We talked about how rapey it was at first, and this is a story that's just kind of bounced around a lot. But Zack Snyder is making this Army of the Dead movie. And originally, like, they had to rewrite everything because it was like zombies get to sexually assault people. Mm-hmm. And like, it's just, no, you can't do that anymore. But it was originally supposed to be a follow-up to not what's the one we're in the mall? It's one of my favorite movies. I can't even remember the fucking name of it. You are totally fucking drained. Dawn of the Dead. I'm totally fucking drained from being at the DMV all day.
Mallrats. I was trying to think of another fucking shitty movie that I couldn't think of a mall movie. Fuck.
Dawn of the Dead was an actual good take on zombies at a time when we were so oversaturated with zombie movies.
Why was it so good?
It's just, I think that the big thing was they weren't like slow, shambling zombies. They were like sprinting zombies. And when they growled at you, they sounded like a fucking lion. So it was actually scary as opposed to just like, oh, I could walk at a brisk pace and get away from these brain-eating pieces of shit.
Yeah. Ooh.
But also Ving Rhames was awesome in that movie. And they make a big death bus with like slots where you can stick a chainsaw out of the side of it. It's awesome. One of the first DVDs I ever bought. Anyways, this was originally supposed to be a follow-up to that movie. But I mean, we're talking like 13 years ago now. So that's probably not really, like, it's not going to be a universe type thing. However, Netflix is saying that they're going to turn this into his own little universe where they're doing like a spin-off prequel film and also an anime spin-off series. Netflix is really into this anime spin-off series stuff right now. Mm-hmm. I think just because their production costs would be so low on that. Like, obviously they're doing a ton of anime, original anime, or, you know, like the inverse of that, which is they take an anime and make it live action, even though it doesn't really need to be live action. But they love to be in this space. So, Mark, you like Zack Snyder. Are you excited for this in the slightest?
I mean, I'm more excited since they kind of went a different route that they're changing the way they're going to do this, and it's not going to be so many rapey zombies. It sounds like, but honestly, when you told us 2 weeks ago, that was the first time I was hearing about it. To be honest, I haven't really seen much in like ads or anything on TV or promos. So
you can't do a promo of a zombie fucking a person.
Yeah, I get that, but still, you could kind of like hint towards it, I guess. Just like, I mean, it's
you can hint towards it in the trailer. Oh, that zombie's gonna get that dick.
like, oh.
Zombie Crystalia just dick out flopping people.
Oh,
check off in the street again. God damn it.
Too soon, right? Anyways. So this is Dave Bautista as Scott Ward. He's the main character here. He's the leader of a group of mercenaries who are plotting a heist on a Las Vegas casino during a zombie outbreak. So this was already filmed in 2019 and it's currently in post, like they're editing it and shit. But they haven't announced a release date. So we know that Netflix, like they'll just spring something on you. We could very well get this Halloween.
I need more zombie style movies that include like a Dead Rising, like just massive slaying of zombies with sweet weird makeshift gadgets. I need more makeshift gadget zombie slaying is what I'm saying.
The Mega Man arm cannon.
Exactly. I need to be somewhat futuristic, maybe, just to be able to have dumb weird technologies you can kind of just like bolt together and just start slaying massive zombies. There's no Dead Rising style of movie out there, right? Or is there?
I mean, honestly, the closest thing to that's probably like Shaun of the Dead or something, because I mean, Dead Rising, like, sure, it was creepy and everything, but it was mostly kind of slapstick comedy.
Yeah, which I'm still here for. I guess you're right for the Shaun of the Dead reference there. That kind of makes the most sense. But even if it's just like a regular action flick, give me some gadgetry. I want some sort of creative weapons. That's half of the fun with zombie killing is getting creative with the weaponry. I just need to see more of that.
I'm trying to think of what even the last good zombie movie was. Nothing is coming to me off the top of my head. I mean, you had like zombie adjacent stuff. Like, I don't know. I don't even know if you would call Bird Box like a good movie. It's more of like something you see something that drives you insane, but
it doesn't really seem like that's even a.
I don't think that's.
Yeah, that's not really a zombie. Well, Zombieland, I guess, right? Double Tap was pretty good.
Yeah, you know what? That's
2019
closest to Dead Rising, because they do ridiculous shit, put together ridiculous weapons, and kill zombies in ridiculous ways.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I guess I just need Zombieland 3 to come out. Is what I'm asking for.
I'd watch it.
The Dead Don't Die. You hated that movie.
You weren't even on that episode, Brick.
I know, but you hated it, right?
I didn't hate it. It was fine. It just wasn't as good as the first one, but most sequels aren't.
The Dead Don't Die was a sequel?
No, not The Dead Don't Die. You said
Zombie. Yeah, I know, but I dropped after that I said The Dead Don't Die.
Oh, I'm sorry. The Dead Don't Die was one of the worst movies I saw last year.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
It was atrocious.
I kind of want to jump on that zombie wagon and see how bad it actually was. Adam Driver, Bill Murray, I just don't see that being bad. Fuck.
I'm telling you, man, nothing happens. It's super boring and you hate everybody.
Did you watch that, Mark, or no?
No.
Okay. Yeah.
No.
Okay.
Was it good?
I didn't see it. Amazing.
Who did you do that episode with? Because I didn't watch it.
Yeah,
it's not. No, I didn't do a full episode on it. I went to see it like a double feature type thing.
Oh yeah.
So let's move on, shall we?
Please.
All right. Last year, Lord and Miller, so Phil Lord and Chris Miller, who did Into the Spider-Verse, they did the Lego movies. They're basically can't miss directors. They revealed they were working on this interconnected universe that's kind of based on Into the Spider-Verse. So it's a group of TV shows, some movies and shit like that. And it's basically just the characters that Sony owns. So basically anything adjacent to Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
So today Variety says that Sony and Amazon are working together to bring a show that would be based on Silk. Mark, are you familiar with Silk?
Not so much. It's a female villain or
No,
hero?
she's a hero.
Okay.
She's Cindy Moon, and basically she gets bitten around the same time that Peter Parker does, except her family takes her into this bunker kind of place and just locks the whole thing down, and she stays there for, I don't know, 10 years or whatever. She gets out and realizes that her family's gone, and she's trying to find her brother and shit like that. I would totally watch this. The comic wasn't great, but it's an interesting enough story that I think that if Lord Miller get their hands on it, that it could be good.
Was there only one Silk run, or has it been redone a bunch?
They did. They introduced her around the time that they did Spider-Verse, the comic run, not the movie.
Okay. Yeah.
So they had all these characters coming in from different multiverses and shit like that. So you didn't really know. But she had a run then. I kind of fell off Marvel Comics around that same time, so I couldn't tell you. But she was a decent character, and she had interesting arcs. She gets a job at the Daily Bugle. I almost said Daily Planet. I don't know why. But yeah, she's working for J. Jonah Jameson and just trying to get info and intel on her brother and where she can find him. So that's what this is. I'm just excited for anything that is even close into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
In fact, also, yeah, dude, Lord and Miller have banger movies. You're absolutely right. I looked them up after, as you said that. Into the Spider-Verse, Lego Movie 1 and 2. Then they did the Batman Lego Movie, Collide with a Chance of Meatballs, and they also had 21 Jump Street, 22 Jump Street. Sold.
See, it pays to listen to me sometimes.
Sometimes.
We were talking. You threw something in the Discord earlier, like super pissed off, like, oh, fuck, man, they only released 3 episodes of The Boys. I was like, dude, I told you this months ago that they were going to fucking do this.
Yeah, that went in one ear, out the other. I was like, that's fine. I'll probably just watch it. Small doses. The last show that did that, I actually stopped watching altogether, was the Castle Rock on Hulu. They dropped 3 episodes early on Hulu, and I think Bill Skarsgård was in that one, where he played like this creepy guy in Maine, but like it was like supernatural stuff. And then after the fact, it was like I never went back to it because I was like, nah. It's like it was like weekly. It was like a weekly release after that. Can't do that. When are they going to release the next ones? Do they have like a release date? Every Friday.
They released one. So, I mean, Mandalorian did this where it was weekly. They didn't even dump 3 at the beginning. It was just like, hey, you're going to sit down and have to keep paying month to month.
Yeah, bummer, dude.
I like that Netflix just holding strong. They're just like, nah, fuck it. We're going to dump everything all at once.
This is our shit. Yeah, take it all at once to the dome. Da!
I love the energy you're bringing tonight, Brick.
Hell yeah.
Very happy. Did you switch from coffee to beer now?
Cheers, mate.
All right.
Sours for days.
I didn't know Dan Slott created Silk.
Worst.
The worst. She's the worst person in the world. Huge skank, terrible, but thank you.
I easily could have paused that, but whatever you said probably wasn't important. I'm sorry. What'd you say?
I said Dan Slott created Silk. He did a great like She-Hulk run. He's a very notable Marvel writer. I didn't know he created Silk. That's interesting.
His She-Hulk run is fucking amazing.
Yeah.
I hope that they actually go through with making that TV show because, man, that's a great character. It's just like attorney by day switches to Hulk by night to fight crime. It's fucking awesome. It's so stupid, but it's amazing.
Yeah.
Anyways, Brick, do you have a best man alive for me?
I had a best woman alive, but then I lost the link here. Best man alive, Mitchell Kissing Titties Trubisky. Because my man got the starting position as the QB1 for the Chicago Bears. Good on him. I think he's gonna actually be good this year. We're gonna put it in the bag here. Put it in a little bank. Howdy doody. He was hurt last year with his non-throwing shoulder for a majority of the year, which hindered his running ability, which in turn hindered his effectiveness. So I'm hoping that rebounds. Bears are back.
All of a sudden learn how to be good at football.
He was doing pretty damn good his second year in the league. He had 6 touchdowns against Tampa Bay that one time. So
wow, what a great defense to play against.
You fucking know it, dude. Well, there was an actual airline attendant that saved there was a little girl flying with an older man, and the older man like wouldn't let her talk on like this plane, and so like she whispered while she was doing her drink cart, she like whispered to the girl to go to like the bathroom, and like the little girl left her a note saying I need help, and then the police were waiting. She was like getting captured for like child what's that word? I forget the word. Trafficking. So good on that flight attendant. I forget her name. And I wish I didn't lose the link in my phone before this. That's the problem.
Doing accusations at Crystalia, man. It's
well, somebody is.
All right, Mark, who's your best man alive?
Yeah, I'm going to give it to 10-year-old Nandy Bushell, who was she went viral, I think, last week. She is a drummer, and she plays a lot of Foo Fighters. And David Grohl saw it, so he's the best man as well. He saw it, and they had a drum off the other day that is now available. It's now up on YouTube. It's pretty intense. It's pretty funny, too. But go check it out. It's David Grohl versus 10-year-old girl, and she just murders it. And I don't know if you've ever seen David Grohl like in concert. He's notorious for just bringing people up on stage, and if they say they can play the song, he'll let them play. Like he had Kiss Guy. I don't know if you guys ever seen that video where it's this guy in the crowd, and he brings him up, and he's got this Kiss face on, and he's like, "All right, I'll let you play Monkey Wrench," and this guy just shreds, just murders it, and he's just like, "What the fuck?" Everyone thought it was staged, but it was completely off the cuff.
Damn, dude, I have to fucking listen to Monkey Wrench. I haven't heard that song in 10 years.
I love Foo Fighters.
The crescendo where Dave Grohl just starts belting out lyrics without breathing is just intense.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is going to get pulled off of YouTube, but I think it's probably worth it. And I hate, as much as I hate to do it, I have to give credit to Wubby for showing this to me.
Brutal.
This is a girl dressed as Waluigi, and I'll just play it.
Now from the top, make it drop. That's some whack. That's some whack. Now get up. That's some whack. That's some whack. I'm talking wop, wop, wop. That's some whack. That's some whack. Macaroni in a pot. That's some whack. That's some whack. Huh.
Oh my God.
This is currently my favorite video on the internet. It's a girl who cosplays, like, she does a ton of stuff. She's her Twitter is Unicorn Ambassador, I believe. Unicorn Astronaut. UNI Astronaut on Twitter. And absolutely fucking hilarious. It's perfect in every way. There's nothing else I can say about it that just would make it any better. It fits so perfectly.
I literally hate that stupid TikTok trend that's going around. Wet ass pussy, just girls being sluts. It's like, fuck you, seriously.
All right, man. We don't kink shame on this podcast.
No, it's just, it's like everywhere. It's like, all right. Just all right. I don't care. I do love Fluffy Fox out here giving me big brick energy. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, somebody's got to do it. Anyways,
there's a bunch of TikToks now where girls just play the song for like their grandma and just wait for her reaction. They're actually pretty classic.
That makes sense.
Grandma's like, "What was that, pussy?" Yeah. Wet ass pussy, grandma. Wet ass pussy.
And in here talking to his mom about poom and shit. But
I remember back in my days. All right, that's enough.
I don't want to continue this conversation. Also, Aroldis Chapman stays a huge piece of shit. Always has been, always will be. I don't care that he helped Cubs win a World Series. Did you see him headhunting at 101 miles per hour with a pitch? So
he throws gas.
Yeah, but you don't throw at somebody's head ever. The guy like narrowly missed death. So if you don't know, Aroldis Chapman pitches for the Yankees. They've been playing the Rays, and these teams hate each other.
Isn't he on the Cubs now?
What?
Didn't Aroldis Chapman get signed back with the Cubs or no?
No. In 2016 he did, but then he went
back.
I just see. Been there ever since.
Gotcha.
Also, he's out here posting videos of him like training in boxing, and his boxing is dog shit. So fuck Aroldis Chapman. You don't throw at somebody's head, especially if you're throwing absolute gas. Like, I get the need to throw inside or like hit somebody in the butt every now and then, but if you literally kill somebody, fuck that. Get out of here.
He clearly was going for his head. Like it.
Oh yeah,
Not trying to defend him, but he typically throws a high fastball. And sometimes it is a really high fastball.
this is Mark coming in. Not trying to be an asshole, but
I'm just saying. I mean, did he have a track record of doing this with the Rays before?
they had both gotten warnings, and
okay.
they were getting real chirpy. This was clearly intentional. Aroldis Chapman, who has been arrested for domestic violence, clearly has a temper. He's a piece of shit.
One of those guys.
If anybody, do it to the Astros.
I mean, don't do it to anyone.
If anybody, do it to the Astros.
But you don't have to do it to anybody.
But if there's anybody that you do it with, you do it to the Astros, I think.
At what point do you say, like, yeah, it's okay to try to kill somebody during a baseball game?
If they're the Astros, I think that's the exception to the rule. I thought that was like an unwritten rule in baseball that they're gonna all headhunt them this year. That was like the rule.
Okay, let's just go. Okay, thankfully that conversation is over. But all three of us went to the movies this week. Two of us even managed to sit through the entire movie. Brick, would you like to regale us with the story of your experience in a movie theater this week to see Tenet?
I went into a 4DX theater. I don't know if anyone knows what this is, but a 4DX is a 4D film format that basically has all these different effects, from motion seats, brutal, wind, strobe lights, simulated snow, scents. They have water. They have simulated smoke. It's like, save this for a 10-minute thing like the Alien exhibit in Disney World. You know what I mean? Do that. I can't do a 2.5-hour movie where they are rotating my seat slowly back and forth while they're on a fucking boat. I'm not trying to get motion sickness while I'm watching a 2.5-hour movie. So
the four dicks experience, like you're just getting them from all sides. I'm not in for this for any movie ever. Like I wouldn't go see anything in this format. Also, how much does it cost?
It was like $18.
It's like $38.
Was this the only theater like showing that was available to you, or?
No, I thought it was interesting. When I looked it up, I was like, oh, is this? I went to go see IMAX. The closest theater to me was Regal, so I was like, oh, I'll go do the IMAX theater. And then they didn't have an IMAX. They had 4DX, and then they had this real like RX option, which is like the Regal Premiere X, or it's RPX, Regal Premiere Experience. So
which
I was like, oh,
Dolby theaters if you go to an AMC.
Exactly. Which I figured that afterwards. But I was like, oh, this would be a cool, like, it's a Christopher Nolan film. This would be a cool time to go check out some, 4D. If it was going to be 4D, they're doing time travel shit. I thought that it would be a cool experience. The one cool thing that they had was they had these little air jets behind your head, and the first bullet that was shot right at the main character. I forget his name off the top of my head.
John David Washington.
John David Washington. I was just going to call him Denzel's son, but John David Washington.
Super disrespectful to a guy who's a very good actor.
It's not that disrespectful, but
pretty disrespectful.
Either way, so they shot it right past him, and then they had a little blast of air that go right past your ear that you're just like, so
it's just like a computer duster, just like
exactly.
Like some high school kid making minimum wage, just like there with a
he's in the seat,
like
exactly. He's that. What was that the couch murderer movie that I saw?
I don't know. You fucking watched it.
That was amazing. Yeah, that was the guy.
What are you asking us for?
It was Murder Sofa. That was amazing. Anyway,
that
was the cool part. I liked of the 4DX portion of it. They also had when the plane kind of ran into the art gallery thing, I guess. They had smoke kind of coming up through the floor, and I was like, I actually can't see what's going on in the screen. So can you move the smoke? What the fuck is this? I don't need that kind of experience. Fuck that. Fuck 4DX. I got motion sickness and I had to leave halfway through the movie. So if the plot was a little more engaging and if I kind of understood what the hell was kind of going on because I couldn't understand half the dialogue, I would have might have sat on the stairs and finished it out. Nah, I don't know. For me, this is a see it later. Wait, what is it? Save it.
See it later. You forgot our rating system.
It's been 2 weeks,
one
dog.
week. You haven't been on an episode for 1 week.
2 weeks.
Oh,
2 weeks.
Well,
It's been. Well, I wasn't on last week, so it's been 2 weeks.
Let's get the bullshit out of the way for this. It's currently at 74% on Rotten Tomatoes, 82% from fans. I don't get that at all. I had huge problems with the way that the sound was mixed in this. And I know this is not something that's new to Christopher Nolan. I mean, what was the first of all, he had issues
Dunkirk.
with
Inception.
right? Dunkirk was the same kind of thing. I don't understand what his obsession is with covering up everybody's face so you can't fucking understand them, but this has to end.
Everybody has to be wearing gas masks. What the fuck is that?
Somebody at a movie studio has to sit him down and say, no, we're not going to fucking do this again. Because it's getting really old, and he keeps winning Oscars for sound mixing or being nominated. I'm like, what the fuck are we doing here? If he gets nominated for this fucking movie, I'm never watching the Oscars again.
Doubt, but yeah.
Sorry. That's my diatribe. Anyways, go ahead.
Half of the nausea that I was incurring was probably not only from the motion that I was in the chair, but the sound was so fucking loud, and I just like couldn't grasp what John Denzel Sons Washington.
Let's call him John. Let's
Is
just
that his
say
name
that right
John?
now. His name is John. His name in the movie is protagonist. We're not saying that. His name is John. We'll just call
His
him
name is
JD Dubs.
All right.
JD
Yeah.
Dubs. I can work with JD Dubs.
J Dubs. I don't care.
J Dubs, whatever. Well, for the first half of the movie, I understand he's supposed to be a CIA agent type of thing. No emotion. Was he supposed to show any? I didn't see any emotion. His lips barely moved that I couldn't understand half the things that he was saying, even without the mask on. I like him as an actor, but not this time. For the half that I saw,
he was excellent in Black Klansman, and I think he was really good in this too. But it doesn't make up for the fact that the sound mixing is so terrible that you can never tell what's going on. So let's get some more of the bullshit out of the way. So obviously this is a Christopher Nolan movie. He spent 5 years writing this, and I'm sure that he watched himself masturbate while reading the script into a mirror several times, similar to what Kanye West does when he records a new album. This was produced by Emma Thomas, and he kind of threw some money at it too. But we should spend some time talking about the cast. Obviously, we discussed John David Washington, who I think is excellent, and he's excellent in this as well. He's held back by the fact that you can't hear a lot of his dialogue, but that is what it is. You've got Robert Pattinson, who, get well soon, get over your COVID. Elizabeth Debicki, I think, was really good in this as well, even though, you know what, for some reason, it was easier to understand the things that she was saying, even through a heavy British accent.
Yeah.
No, you didn't feel the same way?
No, Pattinson was hard. Thing with being for the US, I always have a hard time understanding British accents when I hear them. Like Peaky Blinders, I need the subtitles on. Pattinson's accent was kind of in that boat where I'm just like, I get it's really loud, the sound, but at the same time, I was like, I can just barely understand what you're saying. But yeah, I could hear Elizabeth Debicki probably the best out of anyone besides John David Washington. John, when he was talking or it wasn't super loud.
That's got to be something with like the pitch of her voice, right? Like, is it you assume that most of the characters in this movie are male and you couldn't understand them, but she has a higher pitch voice? I don't know how that works.
Also, the action sequences themselves, was she in a lot of the action scenes? Because I know when they were fighting and doing the explosions, and they have the really intense music in the background when they're kind of doing other things. But
point.
That's my only point.
I will say now, thinking back, the one part where I was like, what the fuck did he just say? Is we had Michael Caine was Michael Crosby, and he's just like, oh, tunnel of Bonnie Rubble and Fruited Pebbles. And I'm just like, what the fuck?
Did you do this movie for a grand total of 2 minutes?
I heard nothing of what he said.
I mean, I usually can't understand him anyways, but this was worse. So
I was trying to pay attention to what the hell he was saying, but also couldn't comprehend like when they were trying to introduce all these characters when they were doing over like the meetings and stuff like that. I was like, I just can't picture what they're saying and what they're getting at, and then they just like went quickly through it. I mean, it's a 2.5 hour movie. You gotta kind of have to get through some things that are quickly, but I was like, just didn't care enough to be invested for some reason. I don't know what.
At what point did you leave in the movie, Brick? Did you see the dinner with Sator where John sat down for dinner with all of them and it was just awkward? Do you see that part?
I saw like right after the plane crashed into.
Oh.
I was like, I was so sick.
You didn't.
They were just like, the plane's going. Then the shit's going left and right, and then smoke's in the air, and I was like, I'm out of here.
Computer dusters just like,
dude. When he gets punched,
ran out of computer duster.
yeah.
dude. When he gets punched in the face, they have a thing like those massage guns in the back of your chair that just, like jolt in your back, and I'm just like, nope, I don't need that.
One punched you up.
I don't need to get punched in the butthole to have a good movie experience. Okay,
That's where you and I differ. We should also talk about Sator, though. He's played by Kenneth Branagh, who is a good actor, and I think he also did. He's a very good piece of shit, especially in this movie.
Yes.
So
I actually could understand most of what he was saying.
He's kind of gravelly.
When he had
not like an Eastern European act. Yeah, obviously he was Russian, right? So that makes sense. I couldn't get past the sound mixing. Like I was so excited to see this movie. It had been delayed a couple times, been delayed a couple months. This was like Mark texted me on Monday, so we had an early screening for this. And I was so excited. I was like, fuck it. I'll go to a theater and watch this. It's Chris Nolan. It'd be our first experience back in an IMAX theater. It's going to be great. And I walked out so disappointed, not only because of the sound mixing, but just because it was intentionally confusing. And I know that's a staple of Christopher Nolan, but you can't have both. If you want to have some mystery in your plot and shit, at least make it so the dialogue is fucking audible. I told you, Brick, before you went to see this movie, try to find a showing where they have closed captions.
Yeah, and then I went into a theater that has the most distractions of all time. It was fucking awful.
The exact opposite of what I suggested.
closed captions, rotating seats. Rotating
I don't know.
Yeah.
The action set pieces are glorious. I mean, that was a real airplane that they crashed into a building. So
that's right.
It was the thing that they had like one shot at, and you had to get it right. So, I mean, a lot of the stuff is visually stunning. There are some fight scenes that are very well done. There's a certain one that I think when we talk about spoilers a little bit more, we'll get into deeper. John David Washington is clearly a badass. They should have given him more physical action to do. Maybe they just ran out of time for the choreography or something, but I don't know. For me, this is absolutely a save it until you can watch it on your TV at home and get closed captions.
Would you give it, Brick, a save it or skip it?
I couldn't even. I can barely rate this because from what I saw, save it for that reason exactly. You don't need and none of those fancy things. Just fucking sit there and watch it. You'll be fine. Like I think save it for later. I'm gonna watch it later, maybe. I don't know. The first part of the movie didn't really catch me enough because I again, like you said, the expectations were super high for me. Back into the theaters for the first time. It's Christopher Nolan. He's fucking back. Sick action piece going back and forth through time. I'm about that. It's like, but then it's just from what I saw, I just wasn't sold. It was probably because I was fucking motion sickness.
Yeah.
Save it.
I'm gonna say see it. While I do agree about the audio mixing, I still think this is a movie you have to see in IMAX. Just know your ears are gonna hurt a little bit, and if you can see it in closed caption, then go do that. But I think this is a worthy movie to see on the big screen. So I'm gonna say see it.
I honestly couldn't disagree more. Like Mark, when we walked into this, you were telling me about a review. Somebody had reviewed it, and they were talking about how the sound mixing was brutal. It was probably somebody in Europe, I think, because they got it a week earlier than we did. And I was trying to defend it because I wanted it to be good, and I was like, well, Chris Nolan shoots everything specifically in 70 millimeter for IMAX. So maybe that was like an IMAX thing. That's not the case. I did a little more research on that. He does everything so that it can be released into like the sound mixing, so they can be released into any theater, meaning that it's Dolby 5.1. So you've basically got center, 2 front, 2 rear, where when you go to an IMAX theater, it's 9.2, I think, which is like full surround, 2 giant, bass center subwoofers and shit like that. The sound was just bad. And I don't know if he just hates writing dialogue and doesn't want you to pay attention to that, but every time like somebody would come in real close to be a close shot, and all of a sudden it would get real tense, and then you would just hear and like you can't hear any of the fucking dialogue. It was such a waste.
Yeah, literally, they're just giving the most bass of all time. It's like a
Rick felt it in his chair, just the rumble.
It was the guy behind a high school kid making minimum wage, just like blowing softly on his ear and shaking his chair.
And I was like, I'm getting sick.
Okay. So I think at this point, we're going to discuss some spoilers. So if you're in the chat, I'm going to throw this up on screen. It says spoilers for Tenet. Tune out right now if you don't want this to be spoiled. Okay. I'm going to leave this up.
Wow. TLDR, dude.
I mean, the first sentence is spoilers for I will specifically for you because you're being a bitch about it, but we are going to
TL, yeah. It's literally
I'm just like, wait, what?
Is that better?
Too long didn't read. Yeah.
Is this too much for you to read?
Right now?
I don't know. It's a little long though still.
Right now it seems a little excessive, honestly.
Can you make it bigger? Like just the spoilers part? Oof. Maybe just Tenet spoilers.
I'm not changing it. Shut the fuck up.
Maybe change the 4 to an actual 4.
Yeah.
You
the
clearly
4.
have something you want to talk about for this, Mark. So just get off your chest now.
I don't think that's the plural for spoilers either.
Are you serious?
It was a meese joke, but it didn't land. See you later. I'll see myself. I didn't even see this movie. Fuck you guys.
Mark has been all week trying to talk about this stupid conspiracy theory that doesn't make any fucking sense.
It does.
No, dude, your one reason for believing that it's true is like John David Washington gets really emotional at this part. And that's why I think that he's definitely, this is why.
No, there's other reasons.
Go
all right, so we're spoiling it. So the big spoiler, the big theory, not spoiler, the big theory, if you've been on like all the Reddits for Tenet, is that Max, the little kid of Kat's son, is really Neil. And there's a couple things that I will mention, and then I will let you counter, Smithers, your arguments toward them. But the first one is just like the whole Tenet thing where the word spelled backwards is the same. Maximilian with the UK dialect or whatever the spelling is literally Neil is the last 4 of that if you spell it backwards. So that is one thing that people are like, okay, there's a Tenet thing there.
Straighter.
I mean, is that just a coincidence? That's a funny coincidence if that's how it is. But the next one is
fucking theory I've ever heard in my life.
The next one is
who the fuck is Neil?
Neil is Robert Pattinson.
Neil is Robert Pattinson, man.
Oh, okay.
All right.
I should have known that, I guess. I couldn't hear the people's names.
There's literally like 4 people in this movie, though. You have to know. The other one is that Neil knows Estonian. Estonian is one of the hardest languages to learn. And the only people that know Estonian, or the only person really that speaks Estonian in this movie, is Sator. And Neil knows it so well that he's able to actually speak it in reverse at one point when they're inverted. So it's just that one thing. Why would he learn Estonian if he didn't grow up with learning that language? That is just one thing that stood out to me. The other thing is, all right, so they also mention that there's just the appearance. I mean, you look at the hair. Robert Pattinson dyed his hair for this movie. That is not his natural hair. So they obviously wanted his hair to look a certain way. Why do you need Robert Pattinson to dye his hair if it's not for a specific reason to match up to a younger actor? It's like, what's the point of that? That's just weird. All right, I'll let you counter with some of your arguments, and as we get through them, I'll maybe remember a few more.
I'm waiting for any good reason for this theory to hold any water other than they dyed his hair. That's so bad.
You don't think the Estonian stuff is a good reason?
Not
his dad speaks Estonian.
His dad is not Estonian though.
He speaks Estonian though.
So what?
Who else speaks Estonian in the movie?
I don't fucking know. They're literally CIA operatives and like deep cover operatives. Like I'm sure that there are a lot of languages that they know.
So he just learned one of the hardest languages in the world to know. He just learned it out of nowhere.
Because you read that in a Reddit comment.
Yeah, but it's a good point. If you think that's not a good point, like why
how
would
do you know that it's one of the most difficult languages to learn?
Because I looked it up.
Because somebody else said it on Reddit and you're buying it, which is fine. Like I don't know Estonian. I can't fucking tell you anything about it. Sure. Maybe it is one of the hardest to learn, but that's not enough to get me to believe it. Especially considering the fact that John David Washington in this movie is so clearly in love with Elizabeth Debicki. Okay. He will do literally anything to save her. But at the end of this movie, he refuses to go be with her specifically because of her safety. So all of a sudden, you think that he's going to come back and put her son in immediate danger? How does that make any sense? Like he's going to miss out on the woman that he's clearly in love with, but he's going to take her son because that makes any sense.
Not immediate danger. Maybe he waits a few years. I mean, if that's your one thing, if you just think that John would never go and be with her or take this guy under his wing, then I guess that's your one argument. But the other one is if you look at how he reacted, Neil really had no emotion throughout the whole movie. The moment where Kat gets shot and she's in the ambulance, that's the only time you see like a distraught look on his face. So that's another thing that I picked that everyone's talking about.
When who's in the ambulance?
Neil. When they first invert and they're taking whatever, it's a truck, whatever, ambulance truck, whatever.
He wouldn't have even known at that point who he was. John David Washington wouldn't have known.
No, no, Neil. I'm just saying, why would Neil care so much for Kat? Like, anyone in the movie, he has no emotion for anything that's going on. But once Kat's shot, you can see the look on his face. He's holding her like her hand. He's tending to her after she gets shot.
Mama.
Yeah.
No, man. This you just can't sell me on this. And I know that I've been a victim of diving way too deep into theories on Reddit and shit, like for Westworld and everything else. I don't see this at all. It doesn't make sense in the context of the plot. Like I get that they speak the same language, but how many people speak Estonian around the world? I mean, millions probably. And like it doesn't hold water for me.
I agree with Mark. Mark should also trade me Devontae Adams for.
I'm not trading you Devontae Adams. There's no fucking way,
dude. Zach Ertz and AJ Green. Anyway,
dude,
go on.
Back to this movie. Mark, I texted you after the fact, and I had to go read a plot synopsis of this because the sound audio, the sound mixing was so fucking terrible. Apparently, the entire premise of them going backwards in time here is based on global warming, and that seems like such a throwaway line in this movie that I didn't catch, nor does it ever come back, apparently. So, Brick, you had to have seen the scene where John David Washington meets that scientist woman who basically shows him inversion in the first place.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Apparently, she's the one that mentions it. And
the cows are farting a whole bunch, causing a hole in the ozone, and now we can travel back in time. Is that basically?
Yeah, pretty much.
Cool.
Yeah, somebody who is like a leading scientist, and they figure out how to go back and reverse this and fix everything, but they basically weaponize it, and they compare it to the Manhattan Projects. It's at a certain point, which I think that's a cool premise, because that's such a fucked up story. And you've got Oppenheimer, who at the time is like, I don't want to do this. All of a sudden, like I realize the power of this, and he tries to stop it, but he can't. So I like the idea there that someone realizes the power that they wield, and they're unable to stop that from going forward. But I don't know. There's just so many missed opportunities in this movie.
I mean,
Can they stop it going backwards?
No,
I'll see myself up.
You know, the other problem with this movie is that they're so fast and loose with the time travel aspects of it. Like, there are no hard and fast rules. You have to wear a mask to get oxygen because oxygen can't go back in time or something like that. Something about the cells not being able to.
No, because you're breathing in oxygen, you're exhaling CO2. The inversion, you're breathing in CO2, so that's like poisonous. You'll die.
Wait, so then why could he, when they were doing that testing with the scientist in the beginning, why could he do it? Was it because it was just short bursts or something, or not explained?
No fucking clue.
Okay,
Wait,
cool.
what scene are you talking about? The scientist?
The first scene where he shoots the bullet and then he can like pick it up in his hand because he inverts it. The first scene where they show something.
Not technically going back in time for that. He's just inverting time for that singular object. Like, time isn't changing except for that one thing, the bullet shell.
Oh, so later on they can actually travel through time.
They actually go backwards in time later on.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. That's where the masks come into play.
But the climax of this movie, where they're going to the final battle, where they're fighting God knows who, because they never describe that. Who the fuck were the people they were in a firefight with?
So that was one of the issues I had. Is it was a subtle like miss. If you didn't hear what Sator said about how the whole climate change and saving the world, that's the reason he was able to assemble those people in the past, which is what we're seeing there, because he's from the future. He basically convinces all these people, like, in the future, the world is, it's like a post-apocalyptic world where everything is the shit. And the only way he convinces these people to fight with him is to say, all right, well, these people in the past fuck everything up for us. We have to go back and fight them. That's who they were fighting.
So it was like a future army.
Soldiers. Yeah. His soldiers.
How the fuck did they get back in time?
They traveled back however fucking many years it took.
That had to be decades, though.
Yeah, I don't know how.
They literally say, like, almost a century into the future, the climate is so fucked that somebody has to develop reverse time travel.
Yeah,
that's fucked up.
I couldn't figure out who the fuck they were fighting at the end, mostly because I missed that line because the sound mixing was so terrible, but it just didn't make any sense. Not to mention that, but there are showdowns at the climax of this movie where you come to figure out who these characters were, but also you can't figure out how the fuck they got there. Like, there are duplicates of people, and they tell you that you shouldn't be able to come into contact with your prior self, even though they come into full contact with your prior self several times.
John does. Do you have another instance where somebody actually touches their past self?
So at the very end, when they're trying to disassemble the obelisk, they're trying to fight like Sator's big bodyguard guy. Mm-hmm. Who were the people that came back? Because you have Robert Pattinson, who basically just flips right in the middle. He goes from inverted to not inverted. And there's also another person there. Who's that other person?
Is that that one soldier guy?
Ives,
yeah.
There's two Ives then.
Two Ives.
If you have to stop and try and figure out for this long what was going on, it wasn't made clear enough for you to figure it out.
Yeah. I mean, there's plenty of instances with a lot of these characters where it's super confusing. It took me forever for the very ending to realize what happened with Neil, how that when they were on that ship and traveling, when they were inverted, you see John doing pull-ups, and then Neil's on the boat with them, and then all of a sudden John is now in the present or traveling forward, and Neil is inverted. He gets off the boat earlier, and then he's supposed to be inverted, but then he sees the whole booby trap go off in the cave where John's going in, and he tries preventing that. So he like travels back and then travels forward to try to stop it. And then that doesn't happen. So he stays in the present when he was supposed to be inverted. And I guess he takes that car and he assembles that line so he can pull them out of the ground. It was just, that part is super fucking confusing.
Rick didn't listen to you anymore. He had to go get his bowl.
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm trying to understand. You're like time travel. Now I'm into it. Now I can kind of.
You're gonna have to smoke something a lot harsher than that.
What I did appreciate about that though is like what I've says is like, all right, if you're gonna think about this as linear, then you're never gonna understand it. Like you just can't think linear for this. And when Neil at the end says, "What's happened happened," and then John gets all teary-eyed and shit because Neil's about to go die for him, which happened in the cave where John was stopping the whole device from detonating or whatever.
Time is a flat circle, man.
So it's like, because John was basically telling him like, do not go back. You don't need to. You're alive right now. And Neil was telling him like, that's not the way this works. What happened happened, and I died, and I'm going back to die basically because I need everything to work out the way it did.
I just don't understand why you're so vehemently defending this movie.
I thought it was interesting. Yeah, the sound fucking was, it hurt. It was, I completely agree. I don't know why the fuck Christopher Nolan did that, but it's like, I saw a meme the other day that I thought was pretty funny. It was the Titanic sinking, and it's just like Christopher Nolan bros, and it's the guys that were still playing violin as the Titanic's just sinking. And it's like, I appreciated the climactic moments in this, the visual effects. There were some awesome things going on. I love like the whole where they were scaling the building in the beginning. The airplane scene was awesome. The scene at the end in the war where the building explodes, then implodes and explodes again, just like crazy shit. And it's hard to wrap your mind around this whole movie. It's very hard, but I expected that going into it. What I didn't expect was the sound to be really shitty. But at the same time, the more I think about this movie, the more I appreciate I guess like the risk Nolan was taking, because he makes confusing movies, but at the same time, he had to know when he was making this movie, like nobody's going to fucking get it, but hopefully people will appreciate it a little bit when they start to put the pieces together after leaving the theater. So
you literally just said nobody's going to get this movie. Like I don't need anything else at this point. It's not good. This is way more Interstellar than it is Inception. And that's not a ringing endorsement.
Is it gonna be better seeing it for a second time and understanding what happened through the movie?
I will not watch this again until I can see it with subtitles.
Right. So when you see it with subtitles at your house, knowing what happened, maybe is it going to be better the second time around? Do you think, is it worth the 2.5 hour investment to rewatch it?
That's the other thing, is I don't know that I'll actually sit down and rewatch it because I didn't like it the first time. So like, why am I going to burn another 2.5 hours on this?
So save it, or you're giving it save it, or
I said save it, but honestly, if you skipped it, I wouldn't blame you. There are so many people that are mad on the internet, which, nothing new, but just getting out of a movie where you couldn't fucking understand any of the dialogue is so stupid.
Okay. Should I finish this movie, Mark?
Yes, I think you should.
Pirate it. Don't pay for it.
Tom Hardy's in it too. He's on top of a mountain just screaming, "This is my movie now,"
with a mask on. All right. So I'm out on this movie. I'm not going to finish it. I don't even care. 2.5 hours is too long.
What I was thinking, like, what if we collided the whole Tenet world with the Dark Knight world? How would Bane go inverted? Would he have a mask on a mask?
He would probably add just another tube to the mask.
Or I go get another beer because you've completely lost me here.
No need to dual mask. You just add another tube. You're just good to go.
I'm sure he's got oxygen running through there anyway, right?
Smithers is still mad because Neil is Max and Max is Neil. It's a fact.
That makes sense. Also, the hair dyeing point, I'm with you on that one.
Yeah, he's like, why would he dye? You think because he dyed his hair? I'm like, why the fuck would he dye his hair otherwise?
To look like the little kid, Neil.
To look exactly the same.
And that's why I care for the mom. That makes sense. I'm in. He's letting us pontificate right now. So you're definitely going to trade me Devontae Adams for Ertz and AJ Green.
Absolutely not. There's no way. I don't need fucking Ertz. I have Huddleston or whatever his name is.
In the chat, is that a good deal? TJ Hawkinson drop balls.
Hawkinson.
Trash. Ertz and AJ Green for Devontae Adams. That's a good deal. Mountain Peak Comics. I know you see it. That's a good deal.
You guys just started talking because I accidentally closed this window. You started talking fantasy football.
Hey, what do you think about the fight scene in the kitchen, Smithers? Did you like that? Yeah, well, Brick, you saw that scene. What do you think about that?
Way longer. Needed to be longer. I need more badass John David Washington. The best fight scene in this was the one where they do forward and backward.
Yeah, that was fucking cool, though. Really cool. If you really think about it, how cool was it, Smithers?
That was the best scene in the movie. Yeah, it was the best scene in the movie. It was better than the airplane.
I would have appreciated it if I wasn't getting punched in the stomach and fucking shook. During that fight scene, I was like, this is sick. Just getting stabbed.
Dude, what if like 16-year-old workers just came up to you and just started fucking
beating the shit out of you? I was like, oh god, this is such a 4D experience.
Oh, guys, get some nachos. You're not working the face over enough, though.
Yeah. Oh god.
All right. Are we done talking about Tenet now?
Please.
See it.
Done for 5 minutes.
See it. Turn up the volume.
I'll give it a full skip it.
You're so for it. I'm going to say I'm changing my answer to skip it.
Wow. Skip it too. I'm going because I literally skipped it. I don't care what 4D.
Are we doing 2 skip it's and a see it?
2 skip it's and a see it.
Right.
We're getting dicey on this one.
We've been getting pretty boring with those Instagram see it, save it, skip it posts. We gotta shake these people up a little bit.
Shake them up.
Yeah, fuck it. All right, I'm gonna take the spoilers banner down, so no more spoilers. Let's stop talking about Tenet.
Oh, I didn't even see that banner there.
I didn't even read it. It was fucking way too long.
Super long, dude.
So speaking of pieces of shit, Mark, you're a piece of shit. What is your recommendation this week?
Lights out! Turn on the radio! Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2.
Are you kidding me? Shred the gnar.
Let's go. Shred the gnar, dude. 720 Christ Air. 540 Benihana. 360 Japan half cab flipperoonie.
Let me ask you this. Can you do the Tony Hawk 900 in the game?
I did it today.
How'd it feel? How'd it feel?
It's actually right down circle.
Right down circle. Just a classic special.
Classic. I actually remembered it too. It's fucking weird how like that little nostalgic trigger in your brain just goes off. You're like, I remember this shit.
We're back.
It's a button mashing game though. Like you just jump in the air and hit whatever direction and
I disagree.
You gotta actually maintain the fucking tubes and know the map and then manual between doing mad grinding tricks. Dude, you kidding me?
I mean,
he's a noob ass noob. Graffiti was sick. Do they have graffiti in there?
They do have graffiti. So my favorite part actually, well, I barely got to play it today, maybe 45 minutes. The way they did this, I really appreciate how they did it because it's $40. It's not $60. They don't have a story mode, but that's okay. What they do is they bring in Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1, Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2. All the maps, not all the maps. They bring in, I think, 8 maps for each. And you can do all the same stuff. You can collect the tapes, skate, high score, all the same things you did back in the day. You can also, for the multiplayer, when you join multiplayer, it's pretty simple. They just throw you in a party of about 10 people. You're in like a waiting area, and then it shows you what the game's going to be. It basically picks like 4 different games, and it's like best out of 4. So the first one might be Trick Attack. The person at the end of the minute 30 with the highest points wins that round. Then it is like Combo Mambo. The person with the highest combo at the end of a minute 30 wins that. And then they have graffiti, and then they do another one. But I thought that was awesome. Before, like in Tony Hawk Underground, when they were just starting to do online with like PS2 and all that shit, it was just a free-for-all. There was really nothing to it. You would just be in a huge map with people just skating. It was really stupid. They did a good job with the multiplayer. So I think
competitive mode that doesn't get old, and there's short, quick rounds. I could get behind that 100%.
Yeah.
I might get it.
Smithers. They did a good job with it.
Thinking about it. Are you playing it on Xbox, obviously?
On Xbox, yeah.
I haven't turned my Xbox on in months.
I could get on the old box, maybe get a little Tony Hawk, and maybe we could stream a little competition between us, maybe put a little something on the line.
Please never say the old box again.
Dude,
the old box!
The best part is like, dude, I was so like giddy in the beginning. It's just like, dun, 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 and then it just shows all the, you remember when you unlock all the skate clips by getting the secret tapes? That was like the beginning. It had like Roddy Mullen, like the same exact clips from like Tony Hawk 1 and 2, the same ones playing, but then they added like Nigel Houston and some other people.
Playing as Bam Margera.
I don't know if Bam's in it.
Why
Bam
wouldn't
might be in it.
Yeah, he should be.
I haven't unlocked all the characters yet. But the whole soundtrack for 1 and 2 is in there as well, dude. It's a very well put together game.
Okay,
And
let me ask you this: how is the creative player, custom options and stuff like that?
I haven't got there yet. I think I'm not sure if you can create a player, because the whole point of create a player was for like story mode. Maybe you can. No, I think you probably can.
The customization,
it's just like a tiny guy who skateboards.
Yeah, the customization is where they're going to make all their money too. If they're selling it for $40, DLC for the maps that they didn't have. Maybe they have some new modes and stuff like that. But
the maps look really good too.
Sick. All right, I'm in on that.
All right, Rick, recommend something.
You got a multiplayer game? I could do a Avengers single player game. I hear that game actually rips. You're a Miss Marvel, who it looks like kind of Mr. Fantastic. Do you know guys anything? You guys know anything about Miss Marvel?
She is an Inhuman her character's name is Kamala Khan. So a few years back, Marvel did this whole thing with Inhumans where they released this Terrigen Mist gas that kind of just spread across the world and essentially created, like, think of Inhumans as mutants from the X-Men.
Okay.
And if you're exposed to this gas and you're part Inhuman, you fold up into this cocoon and you come back out and you turn out to have powers. Kamala Khan is like, she can make herself bigger or smaller. It's not really stretchy like Mr. Fantastic. It's just like big or small. So she takes over the mantle of Miss Marvel when when the old Miss Marvel goes on to become Captain Marvel. That's the backstory there.
Okay, nice. Yeah, it's like a 12 to 14 hour like single player campaign, and then you unlock, I believe, the multiplayer online where you just like bash a bunch of people, like kind of like Dynasty Warriors for Marvel characters.
Okay.
Who you want to rip as? If you could have any superpower and rip as a player, who you got?
Spider-Man. Oh,
I'm debating between Tony Hawk and Avengers. Okay.
I would, if I'm going to buy Avengers, it's going to be on PS4 just because I can get Spider-Man. I also saw that they, instead of having like the Jeremy Renner type Hawkeye, it's Kate Bishop, who is kind of like young Hawkeye. She's like a young female Hawkeye, protege of Jeremy Renner's Hawkeye. I can't think of the name off the top of my head. Clint Barton. That's kind of cool. I like her stories. I mean, if you ever want to read an actual good Hawkeye story, read Matt Fraction's Hawkeye. It's excellent. That's kind of where I was introduced to Kate Bishop, but I digress.
Okay. What's your recommendation?
My recommendation, obviously, is The Boys. We talked about that a little bit. First 3 episodes are out right now. They're going to drop every Friday from here on out. I also started watching a docu-series called High Score on Netflix. It's basically a little bit of history of video games, but they do an interesting twist where it's, I don't really know how to describe it. It's just kind of like early video game type stuff. I'm only 1 episode in. But a really interesting story to me was these guys who went to MIT and they basically built an arcade in their dorm room, and they just were amassing these arcade games, just like these arcade box games. So like Missile Command or whatever. Missile Command was the big one because what they realized upon analyzing the money they were making from these arcade boxes is people were getting too good at the game, so they weren't spending enough quarters there. Like they would drop quarters in and play for a really long time, so obviously their revenue would go down. So what they did is pop open the arcade box, get into the chipset and shit, and like speed things up, change the colors and shit like that, and eventually like Atari sues them and all this other stuff. It's just really interesting background on stuff that you never would have expected, and obviously we weren't alive at the time, but to know these stories now, like the video games that we have now are so leaps and bounds beyond this, but to see where it all came from is just, I don't know, it's really interesting to me. So I recommend this docuseries High Score on Netflix.
Is it all about arcade like shops, whatever you call them, arcade rooms?
This episode is, I
Okay.
don't know how the rest of it goes, but they get into like how Pac-Man was a giant hit. Space Invaders, they do a big portion on Space Invaders, which is really interesting. It's just
Do these
all around riveting kind of stuff.
boomers just complain about console games getting created?
No, they
Okay.
do a section though, because originally you would buy a Pong console. Like you couldn't buy something where cartridges were a thing at first, and then Atari came out and they gave cartridges. They also do kind of like a deep dive into the guy who did what is widely revered as the worst video game of all time, which is the E.T. game on Atari. So like somewhere out there, I think they say it's in Arizona, there's a landfill full of these Atari games that are E.T.
Right.
Great. Everybody fucking hated this game. Apparently it was so bad, but they gave this guy like a 5-week deadline to program and produce this entire game. You'd have to watch it. It's very interesting.
Brutal.
Dude, that sounds like the worst.
5 weeks to come up a story.
I
E.T.'s there.
I didn't even see the movie yet.
Yeah.
Just like,
Shit.
didn't even
So
see the
apparently this
movie.
guy like went to Steven Spielberg and was like, here's my idea. And Steven Spielberg was like, why can't you make it just like Pac-Man or something? So
Perfect.
stupid, but
Yeah, no, it's easy.
I think
to do
that's really interesting, just like the history and the background of video games and how they get started. So check that out if you're interested.
that.
Do they talk about Toe Jam and Earl at all?
I haven't gotten that far.
It's
Would
my
you like
dude.
to ask me
That's
another
my-
video game? I don't know, Mark.
That's
I
my
told you-
fave too, actually. Toe Jam
What
and
about-
Earl, low key ripped, where you get to be like that was like the first time I feel like it was like split screen for me, where you're trying to find the actual portal, right? And you like
Yeah.
split on this island. That was the best.
The tornadoes come at you and you're just running away,
Yes, dude.
high stepping away.
Absolutely, dude. They were balling out too. Just had like the
Yeah.
actual freshest gear. They're always dripping.
Just with chains and shit.
Yeah,
On the spaceship.
they had like airs on. Let's go.
All right. I think that's
Nice.
we've done long enough. This is the longest episode we've done in a while, mostly because Tenet sucked. But anyways, you can find us on all social media platforms at the Chumpcast. You can call or text us at 847-920-6107. Tune in this Tuesday night around 7:30-ish for our 16th entry into our Baldur's Gate Descent into Avernus D&D campaign.
Nerds.
Shout out to Joe at
Love it.
Pull11PM for running an awesome game for us. He's got some great setups and great stories.
Dude, his setups are insane. I always see those on Instagram. They're literally god tier.
Let's talk. Sorry, I want you to mention the Patreon idea you have for D&D, Smithers.
I want to do it. I don't know how. Like I've never DM'd a game before, so I don't know how to do this. I want to do a Fast and Furious one-off where it's just like a 3-hour story. And I think the characters in Fast and Furious lend themselves so well to the classes and races in D&D. Like Dom Toretto is so obviously a barbarian. Paul Walker's a rogue. Like Michelle Rodriguez is a fighter. It's just so easy.
Who's the gnome? Is it Ludacris, the gnome?
He's what would be a tech? He's probably like a mage because he's like a tech wizard type guy. I don't know. Like you take your pick from any of these characters, but I think it'd be fun. I don't know how to start and figure out how to actually turn it into something because I'm stupid.
I think Joe has some ideas too. He'll definitely
sure.
help, and he sounded interested in it. So
The last thing I'm gonna do is be like, "Hey Joe, write and DM this game for me."
No, you can figure it out. DMing's fun. You of all people could actually probably figure it out because it's just the way it's like a story building thing, and then you kind of basically take a base of one, and then just kind of try and rewrite it towards like some
Take
sort of
one shot and replace the characters.
yeah,
more or less, and then just kind of shift it to modern day horse racing, aka just revving them cars, doing
Some
whatever.
JDM Supras and whatnot.
instead of an owl bear, you just have fully Jacktotron police The Rock show up, and we got a battle.
Yes, dude.
Shit like that. It's actually pretty
Charlie
simple if you
Theron.
really think about it.
Just because she can hack into anything and always see where everybody is.
Yeah.
I digress.
Definitely some gambling involved.
Absolutely. Thanks for tuning in. This has been episode 211 of the Chumpcast. Go Cubs, currently up 4-1 in the 8th because Yu Darvish is spinning a gem. I guess until next time,
Real quick, I just want to say thank you to all of our Patreon supporters. We haven't said that in a little bit, but we really appreciate it. I actually made a new outro that you guys will, if you're listening, you're just going to hear it, but I recommend going on YouTube and checking it out. This is just showing our appreciation for you guys. So thank you again. If you are interested in signing up and you haven't done so, you can do that at patreon.com/the Chumpcast. We typically release episodes, give early episode access to our Patreons at least a day early. This one, I mean, we're recording on a Friday, so we'll probably get it out tomorrow or Sunday, and you'll have it earlier than the people that get it Monday.
This, you piece of shit.
It's Smithers, you got to edit it when I tell you to. So, and we also post some other things. I'm putting up YouTube videos there early. We'll get some new segments, and like Smithers said, we might do this D&D one shot, which would be pretty sweet to do with our Patreon. So
I also
again,
post the first episode ever of the Chumpcast.
oh yeah,
Terrible, but you've been warned, and people were asking for it for some ungodly reason. I don't understand why you would want to hear something like that, but
I don't think I ever heard of. I have to go back and check that out.
not.
if there's
Wow.
any reason to sign up, the lowest tier is $1.69.
At least
If there's any, you get episode number 1, and we've done 211 of these now. You get number 1. It was in the vault. Go check it out if you want. So
I will
least.
try to keep posting these weekly, like the old vaulted episodes, onto the Patreon. But
amazing.
I
classic
think
shit.
it's time for us to get the fuck out of here, Mark.
All right, jumps out, motherfuckers. Peace.
Ciao, beta.